Okay, I'm joined today by Tim Patten. He is the author of Masculinity Is Our Future. How are you doing, Tim?
Very good. Hello, Australia.
Well, you're talking to the world, and
I'm
and
talking to the world.
yep, and most of my subscribers are not Australian, so
Mm.
whoever. But even the funny thing is, you might not know this, but most of the people who watch my videos aren't subscribers as well.
Oh.
Yeah, so who the hell knows who you're talking to?
Well, I'm a subscriber and I love your channel.
Thanks, man. So, full disclosure, you sent me a donation via PayPal and asked me to review your book. And because I'm
Yes.
such a lazy prick and I can't sort of stick to schedules, I said maybe it's better if you come on and talk about it because I might not read your book until 2020. So
That might
that's
be a
why
while.
we're here today. I've read some of the book, maybe a quarter of the book, I think, different parts. And to me, it reads like part history, part guidebook. Um, is that an accurate take?
Yeah, I think all of my books have a little bit of a how-to part in it somewhere in there because as an older voice that is a small voice in this whole choir that's starting up around the world. Uh, I feel that I've learned a lot in life, and it's my obligation to write it down and hopefully help other people. So, yeah, it's a little bit like a guide. I have some how-to chapters in there.
Okay. So maybe let me just read the first couple of lines of
Sure.
the blurb. Um, it's an unapologetic and realistic understanding of what being masculine means and how those who possess its modern traits are lionized, celebrated, and valued. So the thing I thought of there was that actually a lot of masculinity is not lionized and celebrated. We celebrate sort of,
Mm.
say, for example, male athletes, that type of
Right.
masculinity, but any sign of male aggression or assertiveness is kind of not, or at least frowned upon by a certain section of the social landscape out there, shall we say? So, what do you say to
Well,
that?
the motivation to write this was that I got tired of hearing the term toxic masculinity.
Yeah.
And I thought, I mean, I thought, well, let me find out if it is toxic. I will throw myself into this, research it, read a bunch of stuff, and you know, uh, write up what I found. What I found was that it is not. Some toxic masculinity is some made-up term by feminists, and if there was a toxic masculinity, then there'd be a toxic femininity, and you
Mm.
can, just on and on and on. Uh, but under the masculine umbrella, I guess you could say, there are a couple of careers that have more domestic violence than others.
Mm.
And I have outlined those in the book. And I've even outlined a way to change that narrative, change the direction. Uh, Pretty easy to do, in fact. So yeah, toxic masculinity is the reason I started this. And I just thought I'm just going to write what I find. I'm going to be honest. I'm going to tell the truth.
Yep. Yep. So, what did you find exactly? I've read the first section, which is all about kind of defining masculinity. Can you go through that and what
Yeah,
is it and what it isn't?
well, the first thing I wanted to do was what is masculinity? Because I felt like we don't even know. Maybe we're losing track of what masculinity is. Maybe young people are not being told what it is or taught what
Mm.
it is. So the first thing I did was define traits that are masculine. These are behaviors that people exhibit that can be termed masculine. And I came up, well, after several months, I came up with a list of about 24 of them.
Mm.
And now, the interesting thing about these traits is that you don't have to be a man to express these masculine attributes or virtues. Because a woman, it's a very inclusive book, transsexuals, and even the gender non-binaries
Hmm.
can inhabit these traits. So as I got going in the book, I thought, this is an interesting place to go. But it's obvious to us, especially in a certain trait like bravery
Hmm.
and bravery. So this is good. You know, if a woman speaks up and says, I was molested by a man, that's considered bravery. But then in my case, I've had to jump into water and try and save drowning people that I don't even know. I know, you know, they're just absolute strangers. And I consider that bravery. That kind of bravery tends to be more male.
Yeah.
We don't really see it in the female. I don't know why. I'm not a psychiatrist or a specialist like Dr. Jordan Peterson might have the answer for us, but I don't.
Yeah. Well, perhaps there's probably some good evolutionary reasons for it. But
Of course.
if you're a feminist, you don't believe in evolution or sex differences or biology.
Or
So
science.
yeah,
They're science deniers. They're
yeah,
science denying lesbians.
yeah.
Oh my God.
Well, but I mean, I guess I would say one thing about this book is that it's not an attack on women at all.
No, no,
It's
no, no.
actually you're actually giving advice on how to have better relations.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Particularly,
I
go ahead.
Yeah, I find that, well, I don't know if we talked about this yet, but I'm gay. Uh, I've had a lot of girlfriends, hundreds, maybe thousands,
Mm,
and uh, and I feel like am a little bit of a girl mentality inside of me and a little bit of a man. I'm kind of split between the two, so it's easy for me to see how girls might think, or a female might manipulate you, or
mm.
want you, how she might want you to treat her, and so forth. So yeah, I did include some of that in my book in terms of helping men understand women, to understand that feminine side that is such a mystery. So hopefully, now that I've exposed some of that, maybe the mystery will make you not like women anymore. I doubt if that'll ever happen.
Uh,
You know, my experience is you like what you like, you know.
yeah, yeah. I don't. Yeah, for me personally, I mean, I don't know how much. I don't find it to be a mystery. I'm 43 years of age, so I have some experience, and I don't find women to be a mystery. Maybe for young guys, it's good to
Yeah.
know some of this stuff up front.
Yeah, yeah, I think so. I try to write for younger people,
Mm.
well, mainly because people my age, you know, they already know some of this stuff probably, but yeah, I'm
Yeah,
trying to go
yeah,
ahead. Yeah.
yeah, exactly. I've expressed this same thought before that I don't worry about men my age too much because I wasn't
No.
brought up in a culture that said that you're inherently toxic. There's something wrong with your behavior, that you all need to be changed, that you all need to be like girls. There was actually a story in the Telegraph the other day that said that the UK Telegraph that said there are groups of like feminists going into, under the guise of stopping violence against women, because apparently that's the only violence that matters. Is that they're telling all boys why they should be feminists and
Yes.
to
Yes.
respect women more. We've had this here in Australia, where in classrooms they tell young boys to stand up and make a pledge to respect women. The girls just
No.
sit there. The
Well,
girls just sit there in the class, and even the girls, reportedly, a lot of the girls feel weird about this. They just it feels
it's
wrong to them.
awkward to tell people. I mean, I don't even know how to define respect, but when I was a kid, very young, my mother told me to respect women, and my father taught me that too. It just feels like scolding,
Yeah.
uh, you know, like I'm back in, you know, she's going to put soap in my mouth if I don't respect a girl.
Mm.
And that offends me greatly. I don't want to be scolded. I'm a fully grown guy and I know what I'm doing in life. And some women are wonderful, but some are real bitches.
Yeah, but we can't, we sort of not allowed to say that
But we
now, you know.
can't, yeah, exactly. You can't recognize the difficulty it is to be with some women. My experience with working with women in very large clinical organizations is there's a lot of backstabbing. There's a lot of bad rumors about other women. They're all trying to get to the top, and one of the way they get to the top is not through their effort or their merit, is to take someone else down.
Right. Well,
This
and
just yeah.
yeah, what better example of that is there right now than Me Too? I mean, a lot of this is based on the idea that we just need to get rid of men, and this is an expedient way to do it. This is an expedient
or
way to get rid of men out of positions of power.
or something called masculinity. Like, okay, to go into this book, I'm reading something that I wrote down. There's the college level courses of men and masculinities. I
Mm.
read dozens of those books. I watched their DVD 3 times, and Michael Kimmel
Yeah.
is the guy that the women, the feminists, put in front of the screen to represent men and to convince men that we're terrible, that we're toxic. And these people search and search. These books are long, and they just search for every little thing. Like, oh, if you like violent sports, you're gonna rape us. If you like, if you like, violent video games, you're gonna
Mm.
beat a woman, and on and on and on. They're just trying to always connect something that we enjoy, usually,
Mm.
to the fact that sometimes women do get beat up in relationships. Uh, but yeah, they never ever talk about women beating men up, the opposite,
Mm.
or the amount of violence in lesbian relationships is just terrible. Like,
Mm.
lesbians are the whole definition of toxic masculinity, I think. So, of course, you can't talk about lesbians, but I live here in San Francisco and I've known lesbians for the past 40 years, and they are some mean, mean women. They hate men. They just hate men. Well, they love
Yeah.
women.
Mm.
So,
Mm. Yeah. Well, is there? I mean, a lot of this never comes up either, but I think it's driven by a resentment because
yes,
men
yes, they,
accomplish, men do things, men
yes.
start things, and instead of women sort of saying, "Well, Silicon Valley's a boys' club, so I'm going to go and start my own startup." They don't do that. They do exactly what you said before, which is that they attack, shame,
Right.
distort statistics, just make bold-faced assertions about things are a
Uh,
boys'
uh,
club, and they have to bring it down rather than
okay.
create their own thing.
Yes, and you see this all around, all around us. Men just build things and women inhabit them, and they
Mm,
don't maintain them. Yeah, I don't know what this is all about, but it seems to be a major reason, major difference between men and women. But nobody is calling out in today's what do you call it? Postmodern society. Yes, the postmodern
yeah.
society.
Yeah, yeah, it's a strange one because every time I hear about go back to Gamergate, something like that. Um, well, go make your own fucking games. I mean, if you want to
Yeah,
make these,
exactly.
just stop telling other people how to make it. Go
Exactly.
and make your own games. You don't like
Oh,
Google? Go make your own Google.
open your own Google. Yeah,
Yeah.
start your own. I worked in the technology industry for maybe 30 years. I was a software engineer. And I also managed, well, I did it all. But in fact, I wrote my first computer program in 1979. That's a long time ago. But, I love the technology industry and the people in our companies, all of them that I worked for, that work on the most intimate part of the systems, the code, the tools, the algorithms. the
Mm.
real nuts and bolts of the system were always guys.
Yep.
And some of them were pretty geeky. And hey, I like geeky guys myself, but so I get along well with them. But yeah, I don't know why people have a hard time with this. They just, I mean, these people who do this work, they can hold themselves up and, have a mind schematic of the whole system that they're working on, all the data elements that have to be passed to the other modules. All of that exists in their brain somewhere, and they don't really have much of a life, I'm sad to say, but they're paid well,
Mm.
and they love this work. They love this work.
Yeah. Yeah.
But no,
But
women want to change it all.
yeah, the thing is, this is what I don't understand. I think in the
Mm.
United States, about 25% of IT graduates are women, and Google's got something like 20 to 25% female workforce. But they want
Yeah,
to
they've got the
change this.
right
It's like,
mix.
where are you
They
going
want to
to
change
get?
it.
Where are you going to get these extra
Right.
women? I mean, there's no discrimination here. I mean, this wholesale denial of sort of the James Damore memo, which is, that,
Yes.
hey, look, men and women are largely interested in, on average, different things, and that's
Yeah,
not a
very
problem.
much so.
It's a problem that doesn't need to be
Well,
fixed.
I think we need to demand that there be diversity and inclusion in the women's studies of all universities. They have to have some straight white men in there. They have to have some gay men who have different points of view. I don't know,
Mm.
they are the ones preaching diversity, and yet they are not diverse at all.
But the diversity is it's a great lie. It's just a dog whistle at this point.
Yeah, at
You,
this point, yep.
yeah, like I mean, you say it's interesting here that you'll see jobs advertised as diverse and inclusive by excluding half the population. You know that
Yeah, that's what it means now.
that's inclusive. To exclude half the population is an inclusive job. I mean, the most inclusive job is one that doesn't have any of those restrictions. It's open to
Yeah,
everybody. You know,
yeah.
but
Well,
you
I have a
start.
very diverse life living in San Francisco. I'll have sex with anybody that wants to have sex with me. So I guess that's my version of diversity. I have friends that I live with. I have a big flat and I rent rooms out, and plenty of them are people of other color.
Mm, yeah. Um, Yeah, so maybe that's a good point there because I wanted to touch on this point. A lot of people, well, I would say, a lot of straight men today appear to be or are or just keeping their head down. They're not necessarily
Yes,
emasculated. They're keeping their head down. They don't
yes,
want to
they're
say anything that could be potentially, get them into trouble. So, for example, if you
right.
say, well, you know what, this whole Me Too thing, I think it's gone a little bit too far. Someone like Matt Damon tries to make a distinction between patting someone on the bum and rape, and it's like, I mean, this is the exact definition of a witch hunt where you don't make distinctions like that. It's just,
Exactly.
and
And I think that men are being silenced. I just feel like straight men don't know where to talk. Now, I don't, I write these books. I'm going to show I
yeah.
have to show it, masculinity. I had wonderful artists put that together, but I don't care what people think of me. And, a lot
Mm.
of the gay friends that I know are very, very, very liberal and they don't agree and blah, blah, blah. But it doesn't bother me.
Yeah. Well, that's kind of my question is that do you think as a gay man that you have some, one less inhibition in talking out against women is that you're not seeking to get in their pants. You don't seek
Oh,
their
yeah.
approval. And I mean, some of my favorite authors, or some of my favorite books, like um, I'm trying to think of, I can never pronounce his name, the guy that wrote Fight Club, Chuck
Oh,
Palahniuk.
yes.
He's a gay
Yeah.
guy, I think. Bret Easton
Yeah,
Ellis,
yeah.
American Psycho.
And
You have a look today. People like Milo um,
yeah,
speaks. He has. Do gay men have less inhibitions to talk out about this stuff than straight men?
I do think so. I think that well, also I'm not working. I'm a retired software executive now.
Mm.
So, but in a work environment, today, how they do it is they attack you through emails to your boss or bosses or to your company.
Right.
And I would be careful if I was still working. But yeah, I have nothing to lose. I
Mm.
like women, but I think when you sit in the same room with me, you find that there's no vibes. No vibes for the sex, honey. I'm
Yeah.
never gonna date you.
Well, well,
It's
may,
never gonna happen.
well, maybe we should go through that part of your book and have a look at some of the. You lay out a
Oh,
list of do's and don'ts.
oh,
I think it's chapter 25.
okay,
Um,
now I have to look.
yeah, it's chapter. So
I
I'll
have
just
to remind myself.
maybe
Yeah.
maybe you wrote it in a drunken stupor and you don't remember.
Well, at the end of writing a book, after 2 years of struggling through it, I do start having a beer near the end because you're just editing a lot of stuff and changing the words that you messed up.
Yeah, yeah.
But yeah, gender equality in dating, or is it
So,
the
the working alongside women. It's
oh
chapter
yeah.
24. So I'm just
Oh,
running. I mean, a lot of these are sort of just basic do's you would do with anyone, not just women. But some of them are hard to hear for some people. So, for example, number two is avoid joking and laughing with any coworker you consider a friend in the presence of others,
yep,
as the kind of
yep.
uncensored talk that goes on amongst friends may be viewed. So we're talking about, you're standing around the water cooler and you're saying,
Yes.
yeah, I met this girl on Friday night, had a good time.
Oh, we had a
Don't
good
do
time.
that. You
No,
said, yeah,
for some reason, women are offended
mm,
so easy. And I talk about this. They just do not have tough skin. Like having tough skin or joking, uh, being a jokester is kind of a masculine attribute because you
mm,
don't see a lot of women do it. You
no,
certainly don't see a lot of gender studies majors joking about anything. They just don't have a sense of humor. But yeah, you just have to be careful what you say. And I've worked in environments where my straight coworkers are so sexual tension
mm,
with the female that's working next to him, and I see that it's really hard to just ignore her.
yeah,
Just ignore her. And I've come to realize that a woman who's demanding attention at work, like sometimes a coworker would come in with a beautiful, wonderful red outfit, brand new hairdo, all kinds of accoutrement, and dressed up wonderful. Well, this is all to take our mind off of our work.
mm,
I think that is sexual harassment if they're trying to talk to you or wearing perfume that is reminds you of a girlfriend or something like that. Uh, men can't be distracted at work just because somebody's pretty.
yeah, yeah.
So
Easier said
I
than done.
no,
Um,
I know.
Number 12. I want to number 12. Never drink at work or go
Oh,
to
this is
office
hard.
parties. Yeah, never drink at work or go to office parties where
Oh,
drinking is allowed.
listen. The girls love going out and drinking with me. We'd
Mm,
get drunk, 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 and they would tell you the god awfulest things about whatever.
mm.
But I don't have any sexual energy for them. So, and it's kind of fun to hear how screwed up sometimes their little brains are. But but yeah, if you're a straight man, don't do it
Mm.
because when you're drinking, you're gonna do something. You're gonna get become inhibited, and more than likely, you might even touch them,
Yeah.
which is an assault.
But then there's an added problem to this. So let's say, you have a group of guys at work and you say, look, just we're not going where there's alcohol and our female co-workers. So what we're going to do instead is a bunch of us are going to go off somewhere else. It's not, work related. We're going to go off to a pub. Now, if they find out about this, now you're
Yep,
excluding the women. It's a little boys' club. What are you
yep. Or
doing?
if you talk about the women, you heard about this on some college campus where they were talking about the most attractive girls in class,
Mm,
and they were called on the carpet. And now that's a big law in college. in their college where you can't talk about other girls. Who's the sexiest? Who's the
Yeah.
prettiest? And it's so funny because I'm telling you, in the gay culture, that's all we do is talk
Mm.
about sex.
That's the thing, isn't it? I mean, and it's not as if women don't do this as well. They rank
Yeah.
guys.
Oh yeah.
I mean, women are even more discerning when it comes. If you look at the online dating world, women are far more picky and discerning about looks.
Yep.
There was a study that
Yep.
showed, something like 80% of the men on online dating sites are deemed unattractive by most women, whereas men
Or
have a more normal distribution of what they
oh
find
yeah.
attractive.
Or if you're short.
Oh yeah.
I used to date a lot of short men because I'm a little tall,
Mm,
and I like shorter men. I don't know why that happened that way, but yeah, women are so discriminating.
mm.
Just it's just kind of crazy. You can be short, you can be brilliant, you can have the skills of a CEO, but they're going to have a hard time unless you pay them money.
Yeah.
It
Um,
come down to that.
number 13 is never ask her out on a date or have sex with her or anyone else you might meet in the
Yeah.
workplace for that matter. The repercussions could be far. Now, in 20 years of working in office, I never had this problem because I always thought, I mean, I worked in the biggest city in Australia, Sydney. There's loads of women. You don't have to date women at work. But the fact is, I don't know what the statistics are, but I hear different ones all the time. Something like 20 or 25% meet their significant others at work.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So, I mean,
Mm,
I understand it completely from the
I
point
know.
of self-preservation and protection, um, but I feel like more and more men are just going to have to fall on the sword here.
Yes,
They're going to
yes.
have to be examples to
Unfortunately,
others.
well, I've had women, I had two women at work propose to me. I mean, for God's sakes, I just didn't know what to say.
Mm,
But yeah, we do meet people at work, and we do enjoy them. We learn who they are, and we just like them. And what's happening is, I think men have to rein in you know, their romantic nature. And I think that's sad.
mm, mm.
But maybe you can go out to a titty bar afterwards. I don't
Yeah,
know.
well, that's another thing that I've never been attracted to that stuff because I thought, why do I want to go
Oh,
to a bar where I
yeah.
can't actually in,
Yes, yes, yes.
pick up
Well,
a girl?
I have friends who are married and they do go to
Right. Yeah, I
these
understand.
bars, yeah.
Yeah.
And I think it's just kind of a blast for them just to sit there and talk about boobs and shit, and
Mm.
it's just part of being a guy. You like talking about, what do you think us gay guys are talking about? We're
Mm.
always talking about sex.
Yeah, yeah.
Even when you go to a drag show, somebody will go, "Ooh, he might be sexy to, get into bed." And you're thinking, "Yeah, but he's a girl."
Number 14 is behave as if you are riding in a crowded
Yeah,
elevator, which brought up to me, should you just if you're going up in a lift and it's crowded and you're
yeah.
going to have to squeeze up against a woman
Oh,
potentially, should you just avoid not getting in an elevator at this point? I mean, maybe that's a
I
safer
don't
idea.
know. That's a tough one. I have avoided some elevators because they're just a little bit too crowded, but that's just my little personal issue.
Mm,
But you're right. If you bump up against somebody by accident, I mean, that's bound to happen, but you could be called in for that. So this is what they teach you, in fact, when you take these courses to act like you're in a crowded elevator with
right.
everybody. And of course,
Mm,
you're going to hold your gas in and not burp and whatever.
hmm. Yeah, it's funny. When I worked in Sydney, and it's been a long time ago now. People used to do this strange. Men used to do this strange thing where, let's say, there's a crowded elevator, and you're at the front of the elevator. Men will
Yeah.
squash themselves up against the sides of the elevator
Yes,
walls
I've
to
done
let a
that.
woman walk out who's
Yes,
at the
I've
back,
done that.
and
We
it's
we
the
do
stupidest. idea.
Well, I know we're just too good to women. We feel like we have to say, "Oh, you look good today. I like your hair," and so on and so on. She comes in and they wear different shoes. Oh, I like your shoes. Oh, you look great. But now I feel like we should ignore them and not keep
Mm,
complimenting them
mm,
and encouraging this behavior to be attractive. I don't care if you're attractive. We're supposed to work.
mm. Yeah, yeah. Well, I guess I've missed all those minefields in my work life because I never.
Yep.
I always thought complimenting a woman was
Yeah.
sort of the cheapest and easiest way to ingratiate yourself. It's kind of
Yes.
pathetic in
Yes.
a way. It's sucking up, and I've
Yes.
never been a suck
Yes.
up,
Yes.
so I've never done it. I mean, what
Good
I
for
had to
you.
do as a young guy was develop, as you said before, a sense of. Christopher Hitchens was right about this. He said women aren't women aren't as funny as men because they don't have to be. Men are the ones
Oh, yeah,
who
that's a good line.
you know,
That's a good line.
people said that he said women can't be funny. He didn't say that at all. He said they don't have to
Yeah,
be
of
funny.
course.
It's
Yes,
men that
he's a
have to be funny.
misogynist. Yeah. Every
Yeah,
time we speak, we're misogynists. My
yeah.
first book, that's all I got was misogyny, misogynist, woman hater, blah, blah, blah.
Your previous
I'm
book,
used to it now.
your previous book to this was a MGTOW book, wasn't it? So
Yes, I have it here.
right.
Oops, this is the one I'm getting publishing it this week. Here it is. I'm publishing it in Spanish.
Ah,
MGTOW. It's a building wealth and power. And there's just, I like to write power. What does that mean? I give people a lot of tips on, you know, whatever.
mm,
Being strong, being good to others, and that sort of thing. Not just an investment guide.
right. Um, I think another part, another section, if I have got it correct, is a, a dating section you had about
Yes, yes.
dating. And here's a problem
Oh my
uh,
God.
that a lot of men have. Now, this idea that you should insist on why should you pick up the bill in this day and age, especially, given that women are apparently equals and asking for equality everywhere, not have equality on dates. Here's the problem, though. If you and me and we get a group of guys to sort of band together and say, look, when we're going to insist that women pay half of a date, there's another guy out there who sees that as an opportunity to undercut you, because what he'll do, he'll come in, as the white knight and say, no, I'll pay for the date.
Yeah.
I'm old fashioned. And of course, women, that part of their brain that's, well, I don't know if they have it, the one that regulates consistency, that's immediately dropped, because they'll be sitting there talking about equality, and then all of a sudden, if some guy comes in and says, I'll take you out on the date and pay for you, then all of a sudden equality sort of magically disappears.
Yeah.
And you have this, I guess it's part of the competitive nature of males that, well, if
Yeah.
you're not willing to do that, I will, and
Yeah.
I'll undercut you.
Yeah. I find that the reason I say negotiate the money as early in a relationship as you can is because if she can't negotiate with you on the basics of just a day-to-day date
Mm,
to McDonald's or something, what makes you think she can negotiate anything more serious like should we keep the kid? Should we abort the kid?
mm,
I mean, if you're looking for somebody that's gonna respect you and want to, share your life, which I think all of us are looking for that
mm.
somewhere. That's the main reason I say that is somewhere you got to start as the man figuring out how you're going to speak to this person and negotiate all the obstacles that are going to come up.
Yeah.
And if you can't get over the dating scene with them, you know.
Mm. Yeah, yeah, yeah. And another one is a good one, which it stuck out to me. It's a small, minor detail, but I practiced this for years myself, which is never go out to dinner on a first date. Go out for coffee, make it in a
Yeah.
public place, usually in the daytime. These are my rules. I'm just adding on to yours, which is
Yep.
make it a place where you can meet someone, because you get the vibe in 5 or 10 minutes.
Yes. Yeah,
You don't
it's
need any
all
more
a
than that.
chemistry. At least that's the way I am. I can't date online. I can't see a photo and, go, oh yeah. Um, yeah, it's a chemistry process that you have to go through with them to figure out, well, does their chemistry match yours, or
Yeah.
can you deal with them?
Well, it's a big problem in the. I used online dating for years, and worked out very quickly that people
Yeah.
lie about the
Oh,
way they look. The photos
yeah.
are 5 years old. You can't trust
Yeah.
anything. So
Yep.
every time you set up an online date, you say, okay, Starbucks or whatever, Starbucks, 12 o'clock. Never make plans for after. Don't say, let's meet and have coffee and then go
Yeah.
watch a movie, because now you're stuck with someone for
No,
3
you're
hours you
stuck.
don't even
Yeah.
like. You just,
No, when I was dating, like you're just saying, telephone dating or whatever it was, we used to date through letters in the mail, way back, way back. You know, yeah, they're all people I don't want to have sex with or don't want to be around anymore. I never met one good person through that process. So yeah, keep all of your options and don't get in too deep.
yeah. You got to have a strategy that says you can leave after 15 minute. Oh, look, is that the time?
Yeah.
I've got to be somewhere,
Yeah, my
and
mother wants to talk to me.
yeah, I have to do my homework. Yeah, something like that. Well, maybe we'll keep it this short, because
Yeah,
people
yeah, I've enjoyed
don't watch
talking
these.
to you.
Yeah, and
I'm finally meeting you after watching your videos for what, a year? At
well,
least a
you're a
year.
very patient man. A lot of people don't stick around that long. Uh, what we'll do is we'll link the Amazon links to your most recent book, and we'll link the MGTOW book as well. And is there any other ways people can reach out and find you online, or is there a profile they can read about you other than sort
Yeah.
of Amazon book reviews? Or
Well, sure. I'm on Facebook, and when I first started writing MGTOW books, I got a whole bunch of guys writing and talking and, sharing their MGTOW experience, which I really appreciate a lot. However, I'm in jail. I'm in Facebook jail right now
oh, okay.
because I said something really rude to somebody. I have to work on this.
Yeah, me too. I've got that same problem.
Oh my God. I'm sorry. I was making a joke, but they didn't take it as a joke. So,
Well, that's a professional occupation these days, to be offended by things that are
that are
jokes,
supposed
but
to
you
be funny.
pretend they aren't, just so you can be
Yes.
offended. Yeah. All right, Tim. Well, thanks
Uh,
a lot
Thank
for
you,
joining
Independent
us.
Man. I
And
have enjoyed this.
ju- just um, just say the name of the book again, and where
It's
people can find it.
Masculinity is Our Future. It's very inclusive. I'm not demanding anything.
And
Just
it's available on Amazon in
Amazon.com in all countries.
and Kindle version and
And paperback.
paperback.
Yeah.
Okay, good one, Tim. Thanks for being here.
Oh no, thank you. Thank you so much. All right.